So we begin by inviting you to light a candle for peace in our beautiful world that's so fragmented, and especially Syria. And we pray that the Spirit of God will touch the hearts of those who can make a difference and bring peace to the people of the Middle East. And we also remember Egypt, where Sister Abla is and her family in Cairo. In the name of our beloved Father, Mother God, who creates life, in the name of the risen cosmic Christ, who loves life, in the name of the Spirit, who is the fire of life, in the name of Gaia, our beloved Earth Mother, who nurtures the divine in all life, in the name of all faith traditions, who are the sons and daughters of the one true loving God, our brothers and our sisters, in the name of spiritual diversity, we welcome you to this table of love, and we invite you to relax and be still in the presence of a loving God. I would like to begin, if I may, by sharing with you a few short reflections. From Psalm 8, verse 1, we hear and we read, O Lord, our Lord, your greatness is seen in all the world. And that is true. But David Adams says, let the earth proclaim the joy of your name. Let each bulb rejoice, its growth be a voice. Let each seed and flower tell of your power. Let the glowing bright sun show the deed that is done. Let us hear from the rain, he is risen again. And Tony de Mello says, search for God where you lost him. Search for God where you lost him. And if we are all true to our heart, because that is Christ consciousness, coming to God from your heart, coming to God from the heart that is the gateway to your soul, the gateway to God. And there are times in my life when I lost God through illness, when I left my community back in '74, when I was going through a pretty rough time with studying as a nurse in training. But I wasn't on my own. There were many of us who found community life quite challenging, especially as student nurses and monks. And there was a time in the wilderness where God was in the distant past. We'd had enough of religion, ritual, and false piety. But then comes a time for all of us in the wilderness of our own pain, where we do hear that voice, come home, come back to me. You are loved with a precious love. But we each have to find that special place. And you know as I know, it's so difficult in this modern world to hear that voice in stillness when you're busy texting on the iPhone or the iPad. So this time is our time of coming together to honor the Supreme, the Divine, the one who has many names, Allah, Jehovah, Yahweh, God, Supreme, Creator. God of love, God of mystery, God of power. So let us use this time to search for God where we lost him. That's if we have lost him. But often for us to be used by God as an instrument of grace, an instrument of love, we have to be broken. Our ego has to be broken. That self-importance. And I know that only too well, because my dark night of the soul was 16 years ago, when a dear brother monk friend of mine died of cancer at a young age, 42, and we were like blood brothers. And his death had a profound impact on me. And I was a senior nurse in palliative care, so you would have thought I would have been used to death and dying. I wasn't. Well, not to a close friend who was like a member of my family. And through a prescribed antidepressant, Prozac, the happy pill, it introduced me to mental illness, to bipolar. But you know, that breakdown was my breakthrough. It was my coming home to my true self, honoring my truth and finding my God, and to fall in love with the beloved, who didn't condemn me, but who embraced me in my shadows, in my vulnerability and my disability. They became God's ability to touch lives. So let us relax now, and let us take heart that no matter what we're going through, no matter how bleak things may be, there is always hope. Like the simple candle, a simple flame, for me it represents something much bigger than me. It represents my beloved, the God in whom I love. And that flame is a source of encouragement to me, because it reminds me that God is present, even when I feel He's far away. So let us just relax for a moment. Let's focus on our in-breaths. And as we take a nice, deep, non-labored in-breaths, let us experience the gentle art of blessing, that we are loved, that we are a child of God, and that you and I are on a journey of love, a journey of truth, a journey of blessedness. So let us relax, let us be still in the presence of that love, and be aware, just be aware that we are all in the presence of a Creator God who loves us regardless of the color of our skin, regardless of our religious persuasion, regardless of our sexual orientation, regardless of our disabilities, regardless of our past. Let us just visualize the hands of the cosmic Christ reaching out to us, saying, "Come, sit a while with me, be still and know that I am with you." Sense the presence, that that loving presence that seeks not to condemn, but to embrace you and me in our shadows, in our misunderstandings, in our judgments, in our criticisms, and the times when we beat ourselves up and put ourselves out of the reach of a loving God. Let us just sense the peace in the stillness of this moment. For this moment is a prayer. It's a prayer of love. It's a living prayer. It's where we gift our hearts to our God in recognition for all that we receive. Let us just see those hands, the hands of the Beloved coming to us. And in those hands there is a message, carefully written, that will be revealed to us towards the end of the vigil. And as we breathe in, feel that love. Hold that love. And now release any anxiety or tension, fear, apprehension into the arms of our beloved Earth Mother and our Heavenly Mother. And just relax. And if there is anything causing you disquiet, name it, because it's yours. Bless it. And now release it to God and be free of the burden. And in your next breaths, thank Almighty God. Thank God for releasing you and setting you free. For the power of gratitude is a powerful blessing, for it releases the abundance of God into our weary, broken hearts. Just be still. Be still and know that we are a child of God, a child who is dearly loved, who is respected by God, and who is valued. Let us embrace that love, and let there be no fear, for God is near. Nicholas Zernov shares this with our heart. God always approaches us from beneath, and we must stoop to meet him. And when you think that of all the galaxies that the Creator made, this planet, the inhabitants have been given a precious gift, the gift of free will, the gift to choose, the gift to accept the invitation by God. And the invitation is to come, and not to do great things for God, but to allow God do great things for us by living that simple life, by embracing our truth, by listening to our heart. Let us sense the heartbeat, and let us visualize those beautiful hands, the hands of the Christ, the cosmic Christ, trying to touch us in our darkness, in our despair and depression. And there are times when depression hits me, but you know, the way to deal with it is not to fight it, it's to embrace it and to offer it as a prayer. For when it grips the mind and the heart, it leaves one totally frozen, cold, adrift. But when we invite our Father, Mother, God, they send us the help we need. We may not see it or feel it, because it's not a feeling, it's an action of love. And all the great masters, all the great spiritual teachers of our world, Rumi, Osho, Mia Baba, the Lord Buddha, Vishnu, Ganesh, Martin Luther King, dear Gandhi, Francis of Assisi, Claire and Colette, Bernadette Subaru. Even the feast we celebrated yesterday, Saturday, Aidan, who was one of the monks on Iona, a place I love, a place I call my spiritual home, where you can reawaken to the ancient values of those great men and women. And you can come to your God through nature. You can see and feel the beating heart of God in the beauty of creation, the cathedral of God. And Aidan struggled, Columbus struggled, the Prophet Muhammad struggled. All the great spiritual men and women of all faiths have had their dark night of the soul, as you and I do. But rather than fight it, bless it. Bless it and release it to the light of God's love. And use your gift of free will to ask for help. Don't struggle. That's the ploy of the evil one, to create more restlessness and despair and irritability. And that's for many who have no depths. They've not prepared their foundation well with prayer, meditation, silence, even fasting. People think, oh, that's for nuns and monks. It's not. We each must discipline the mind, because the mind can run off on a tangent. Mine has, many times. I've often thought the fields on the other side of the hills here were greener than the ones around us. But when you climb to the top, you realize they're the same. Let us listen to this beautiful song. A man I love, Charlie Lansborough, Song of the Ocean. I dedicate it to you.
Moon on a canvas sea, such a beautiful sight, lost on a stardust trail, on a mystical night, wash of a million waves calling to me. Deep in my soul I can hear the song of the ocean. From the noise of man, free from its hold, we took our dreams and ran. We were scattered like gold, softer than silken sheets, through a night like a prayer, taking our hearts to meet the song of the ocean. Golden moon, silent rain, right along. Just like me, he can see the beauty in your song. Strung like a million birds, stars in the sky, dance as the seabirds call their lonely lullaby. Heaven is there to touch if your heart is clear. To love so much the song of the ocean.
Be still. Be still and allow the love of your God come to you now. Let the love of the Christ reawaken within you your gifts of blessedness. We are a child of God, and we are loved whether we feel it or not. So embrace your heart, your teacher, your divine oneness with God.
Secrets as old as time whisper to me. Sometimes the soul can feel what the mind cannot see. Heaven is there to touch if your heart is clear. I come to love so much the song of the ocean. Of the ocean.
Beautiful. And there's nothing nicer, is there, than to stand by the sea and listen to the waves. And that I look forward to when I return to Iona in September. To be still and to listen to the waves of the Atlantic Ocean. Let us come to our heart. Let us now be still, for we are in the presence of God. Let us invite, invoke, and ask the Spirit of God, of love, to touch us and to reawaken within us our lost love. My first love is my God, though it's taken me many years to find my beloved. Let me read this to you. It's by Joanna Macy, and it's from the Iona Reflection for the day. As we allow ourselves to feel our pain for the world, we find our connection with each other. And though our hearts are heavy because of man's inhumanity to man, we cannot help but be touched. The depths that others will go to destroy the children of God. But let us not lose heart. The power of love, as the great Buddha Dhammapada said, hate is not overcome by hate. Hate is overcome by love. And whatever your faith tradition is, love represents life. And for me, as a Catholic Christian who embraces all faiths, as a member of the Teo community of Interfaith Franciscans, love is God, love is divine, love is power, and prayer is a weapon of love against negativity and evil. And let not our hearts be sucked by the dramas. Let us remain detached and not compromise our inner divinity, that inner specialness that God has for us and we for God. I want to read to you a message that was channeled by the Cosmic Christ in this wonderful little book, Jesus Calling, by Sarah Young. Seek me with your whole being. I desire to be found by you, and I orchestrate the events of your life with that purpose in mind. When things go well and you are blessed, you can feel me smiling on you. When you encounter rough patches along your life journey, trust that my light is still shining upon you. My reasons for allowing these adversities may be shrouded in mystery, but my continual presence with you is an absolute promise. Seek me in good times. Seek me in hard times. You will find me watching over you all the time. And these are the words of the Cosmic Christ speaking to our hearts. Let us now embrace the Christ. Let him come to us. But first we must ask him. And now he's here. And now he's placing his hands on your heart, releasing all the negativity and fear, the bondage, the sadness, the low self-worth and low self-esteem. Sit with that in the stillness of God, in the presence of your God, known by the name you have called your God. Allow the Christ set you free and bless your life. And now release and reclaim all that you are as a child of God. as a child of love.